One of the world's most influential fashion journalists, Anna Wintour, has announced she's standing down as the editor of US Vogue magazine after almost 40 years in the role. The 75-year-old, who was born in Britain, has gained legendary status in the industry. She announced her departure at a staff meeting, but will remain as Vogue's global editorial director. Our culture and media editor, Katie Razzle, now reports.
She's been the queen of the front row for more than 4 decades, the high priestess of fashion, known for her style, her drive, and of course, the dark glasses she was rarely seen without, something I asked her about when I interviewed her last year.
They help me see, and they help me not see, and they help me be seen and not be seen, so they're a prop.
Now, after 37 years as editor-in-chief of American Vogue, Anna Wintour is stepping back from direct control of the fashion Bible, although she was quick to dismiss any suggestion of that when we met.
Well, I have no plans to leave my job currently.
So does that mean you'd go on till 80, 85, 90?
I'm worried about today, not tomorrow.
Famously, Wintour was said to be the inspiration for Miranda Priestley, the icy and terrifying magazine editor in The Devil Wears Prada, played by Meryl Streep. At the West End musical version, audience members gave their reaction.
It's a shock to begin with, and I think people will be really surprised because without her, there is no Vogue.
I hope they don't change it very much, with her not at the helm.
Trends come and go, but Anna Wintour never went out of fashion. Born in London, she always championed British designers, but she made her name in New York, including as the impresario of the Met Gala, one of the most photographed events in the celebrity calendar. She isn't leaving Vogue entirely, though, remaining as its global editorial director, as well as chief content officer for its parent company, Condé Nast. This isn't the last we'll see of Anna Wintour. Katie Razzle, BBC News.
Well, let's now speak to Diana Pearl, the senior news and features editor at trade publication The Business of Fashion in New York. Diana, to the untrained eye, mine for example, it doesn't look like that Anna Wintour really is stepping back at all, completely.
You know, you're right in part. She is going to still be the global editorial director of Vogue. So that means that she's not only overseeing American Vogue, but all the international editions under the Condé Nast umbrella. And she's chief content officer at Condé Nast, so she oversees every title except for the New Yorker. So she still will very much be involved and really the final say on what happens at American Vogue. But with a new director of editorial content, there's going to be an opportunity for someone new to put their stamp and put their direction into the magazine, which hasn't been the case for 37 years. Anna has defined what this magazine has looked like. So that will be a really interesting shift, even though Anna's voice will very much still be a part of that creation. It just won't be, as much in the day-to-day process.
And it's a big question, but what is her legacy? I mean, she's well known in the context of battles and a fight for control and so on. And of course, The Devil Wears Prada was a film really about some of the dynamics in her office. But what is her legacy? What direction has she taken the magazine?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that Anna is best known for is that she really took the magazine from traditionally putting models on the cover to putting celebrities on the cover, which is something now we see, basically every fashion magazine does. She was the one who really set the standard there. Of course, the Met Gala, she took that from a rather, quiet museum fundraiser that was really just a society event and turned it into one of the most talked about events in the world. So that's a huge part of her legacy. And really, she is one of the last editors of sort of this great era of magazine publishing. The editors who get hired into these sort of positions today, they don't get those kind of salaries. They don't get those expense accounts. Magazines just don't have the same heft and weight today that they did 30 years ago or 37 years ago when Anna first started. So I think that she really will come to define that, some Vogue's last glory years, or I don't want to say last glory years, but that era of magazine publishing.
But just very briefly, because we're running out of time, the world is changing, isn't it? The digital world has now taken over. Where does that leave the magazine?
I think that right now you have influencers, you have TikTok, you have Substack. There are so many different ways for people to get fashion inspiration, but Vogue still remains one of, if not the most recognizable name in fashion. You know, it's known across countries, across borders. It really still has that gravitas. I think the way people consume content is different nowadays. You know, people don't rush to get their copy of Vogue maybe the same way they rush to watch a TikTok from their favorite style influencer. But what Vogue does and who Vogue puts on the cover, the designers that they choose to feature and spotlight still really can make a huge difference for a brand or, you know, an actress or what have you. So Vogue definitely still has a huge gravitas and cultural weight. And Anna's a big part of that and why it's been able to, you know, retain that relevance.
Certainly a massive figure in the industry, and her next moves will we watch very closely. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and do stay with us here on BBC News.